All right, so I need to ask you something. Have you noticed how every AI-generated app looks kind of weirdly bad? Like, buttons are just kind of floating in random places, colors are fighting with each other. Nothing really feels intentional. It's like AI looked at 1,000 beautiful apps and somehow learned to make them worse. Here's the thing. That is not random. There's actually a reason why AI has consistently been producing these ugly, chaotic interfaces, and it's super important to understand why. In this video, we are going to unpack what's actually happening under the hood when AI generates UIs. We're also going to do a live transformation. I'm going to take a hideous sign-up screen and clean it up using real design frameworks. And finally, I'm going to give you the exact prompt strategies to make your AI-generated app actually look professional. Ultimately, my goal here is to help you ship apps that don't scream AI-generated. Let's get started. All right, so here is our game plan for today. First, we are going to diagnose the problem. I'm going to show you exactly why AI generates these incredibly chaotic interfaces. Second, we are going to talk about design frameworks, what they are, why they matter, and how they solved this exact problem before AI even existed. And third, we're going to actually fix an ugly AI-generated UI live, step by step, using real design frameworks. And finally, we're going to zoom out and talk about what this all means for the future of building products with AI. Let's get into it. If you don't know me, I'm Sunny. I'm a serial founder now on my fourth startup, LightSwitch. I'm also a former senior engineer at Bloomberg and Shopify, and currently an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School, where I teach tech. Listen, I've been building software for over 15 years, well before AI, and I've made all the mistakes so you don't have to. My goal for this video, and really all my videos, is to help you get your ideas out into the world. Let's get started with our first step. Let's start with what's actually happening when AI generates UIs. Here's the thing. It's not designing, it's actually just remixing design patterns. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. I'm going to actually go through 5 key reasons why AI makes ugly UIs. So first, when you ask AI to make a sign-up form, it's actually pulling from thousands of screenshots it saw during training. But here's the deal. It doesn't understand hierarchy. It just spaces things evenly, not meaningfully, for example. So you end up with a button that has the same visual weight as your input field. Everything is kind of screaming at you equally, which means nothing stands out. Second, AI mimics visual style, not product logic. It sees gradients and rounded colors and thinks, oh, modern apps have these things, but it has no idea why they're there or when to use them. It's kind of like a parrot that can say words, but doesn't actually understand what they mean. Third, and this is crucial, AI is trained on screenshots, not systems. It doesn't know about design rules, spacing scales, or component libraries. It just knows, here's what things look like, not here's the rules that made them look cohesive. And fourth, there's zero notion of affordance, of emotion, or brand. AI can't tell you what a button should feel like. It can't understand that this sign-up form is for a banking app versus a gaming app. It's just kind of pattern matching without context. And finally, it overfits to trendy aesthetics. It has been trained on all these super cool, futuristic, trendy UIs that look nice, but are actually nightmares to use. Let me show you what I mean. So here's an example of a pretty terrible AI-generated sign-up form. So right away, look at the spacing. The gap between email address and the input field there is huge, but then the gap between password and its input field way tighter. There's no rhythm or consistency. It's just kind of random pixels everywhere. Second, we've got a color problem. Everything is blue, but like 4 different shades of blue. The heading, the input borders, the button, the login link, they're all kind of competing. There's no hierarchy telling you what's important. And third, why do some input fields have a blue border? Are they focused? Are they just styled that way? There's no state system here. Just feels like arbitrary design choices. And listen, if you're looking at this and thinking, that doesn't look that bad, that's actually a problem. Because it looks okay enough that you could ship it, but it's not intentional. There's no system here. It's just kind of vibes. But here's the thing. This isn't new. Every time a new tool democratizes design, chaos follows until someone builds structure. And that brings us to our next section. And before moving forward, I do want to make this one larger point. Right now, everyone and their mother is building apps with AI. The barrier to entry has never been lower, and that is a great thing. But here's what I'm seeing. 90% of these apps look like they were generated by AI, and not in a good way. They have that uncanny valley quality where you can just tell no human made intentional design decisions. And listen, the window's closing fast. In 6 months, users are going to be able to spot AI slop from a mile away. In fact, many can already do so. And if your app looks like every other AI-generated app, you're kind of dead on arrival. The ones that will win will be the ones that actually look good. The ones where someone actually took the time to apply real design systems and real intentionality. So don't just ship fast, ship with structure and intentionality. All right, so let me give you some context about how we've solved UI chaos before. And listen, we've seen this before. This is actually super important for understanding how to fix AI-generated UIs. So let's rewind a bit to the early internet. It was the wild west of UI design. Everyone was just kind of doing whatever. Crazy gradients, animations that made your eyes bleed. There were no rules. It was pure chaos. Then in 2011 comes Bootstrap. And along with it, it standardizes all grids. So suddenly the web started looking cleaner, not necessarily more creative, but at least consistent. You could look at a website and intuitively understand how to use it. Fast forward to 2014, Google releases Material Design. And this wasn't just a component library. It codified motion, elevation, and color systems. They basically said, here is the grammar of digital design. And around the same time, Apple is doing the same thing with their human interface guidelines. They're basically teaching developers how to think about UI, not just how to implement it. And here's my broader take on this. These were design systems built by humans for humans to restore consistency after democratization essentially created chaos. Sound familiar? So let's actually define what a design framework is, because I think there's a lot of confusion around the term. So at the core, you've got basic design rules. These are your fundamental values, things like specific colors, spacing units, borders. Think of them as the alphabet of your design language. Then you've got components. These are your reusable building blocks, things like buttons, forms, cards, modals. Though these are built using these design rules, so they're all kind of speaking the same visual language. And finally, you've got guidelines. These are the rules for when and why to use these things, like use a primary button for the main action or use a secondary button for alternatives. It's the grammar that kind of makes everything cohesive. And here's the key. It's not about beauty. It's not about making things pretty. It's not about art for art's sake. It's about consistency that feels intentional. Now, here's why AI ignores all of this. AI models screenshots, not systems. They replicate surface level patterns, not the underlying rules. So when you ask AI for a beautiful sign-up form, it's essentially free-handing chaos based on what it thinks a beautiful sign-up form should look like. But when you give it a system, when you say something like use Tailwind spacing scale or follow material 3 tokens, it finally understands the grammar of design. All right, so let me give you some best practices for actually using AI with frameworks, because this is where the magic can really happen. So first, always specify framework context in your prompts. Don't just say, make it modern. Say something like, use Tailwind spacing scale with consistent padding. Second, reference specific component libraries like shadcn, radix, chakra. These are pre-built systems that AI can lean on. And third, and this is huge, prompt with constraints, not adjectives. So instead of saying, make it sleek and modern, which means literally nothing, say centered column layout using Tailwind with balanced white space and muted palette. Give it rules, not vibes. And finally, iterate within a system, not from scratch. So once you've established your framework, every change should be a refinement within that system, not a complete redesign. So now that we know what frameworks are and why AI desperately needs them, let's actually fix our ugly sign-up screen using these principles. Okay, now let's actually fix this fugly UI and turn it into something we can actually push to production. So here's this AI-generated mess, and what we're going to do is we're going to walk through fixing it in the 5 steps. Let's start with step 1, which is fixing the spacing inconsistency. So what I want to do is essentially establish a consistent vertical rhythm. Right now, the spacing is kind of all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prompt this, use consistent spacing between all elements, apply space Y6 for the form fields and space Y2 for label to input pairs, use Tailwind's spacing scale only. So let's actually send this in the prompt. And let's see what happens. Okay, cool. So it's done and it has improved the spacing. And now you kind of see that there's a good little vertical rhythm and things are kind of spaced out well. Cool. So let's actually move to step 2, which is establishing a color hierarchy, because we need to fix this color chaos. Right now, everything is blue. They're kind of clashing with each other. The heading, the labels, the borders, nothing is really standing out. So here's what I'm going to prompt. Remove color from the headings and labels, make them neutral, gray, keep only the button and the login link blue. I'm also giving it specific gray tones for this. So let's see what it produces. Great. Look at that. Now your eyes kind of know what's important and what's just information. So let's move on to our 3rd step, which is replacing with a proper component system. What we're going to do is we're going to adopt shadcn specifically, shadcn components, instead of these kind of custom styled elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prompt it this, replace all form elements with shadcn components, use the card component, use the input field component, use the button for the CTA, and etc. Let's see what it produces. All right, so fantastic. This is already looking so much better. We're now using a proper component library, so everything is inheriting from that. Things like states, hover states, disabled states. We didn't have to code any of that. We're just kind of using something that was pre-prepared by professional designers. Let's move on to our 4th step, which is just simplifying this ugly background. I want to kill the gradient. It's trendy, but it literally serves no purpose. So here's what I'm prompting. Remove the blue gradient background. Use a simple slate 50 or white background. Instead, keep it clean and minimal. Cool. Now we have visual clarity instead of distracting decoration. Let's move on to our 5th and final step, which is establishing like a typography hierarchy. So we want some kind of typography rules. Right now, the create account and the labels have similar weight. So here's what I'm going to add. Make the heading text 3XL, font bold and slate 900, adding some more specifics around the label. We're also going to add a subheading that says sign up to get started. Let's see what it produces. All right, look at that. Now there's a very clear information hierarchy. Okay, let's look at this side by side. So I want you to just really appreciate the transformation here. On the left, we've got complete AI generated chaos, random spacing, color everywhere, no system whatsoever. On the right, we've got a sign up form that feels intentional. And here is the broader point. The difference between the two isn't about taste or preference. It's not that I have a better design sense than AI. The difference really comes down to structure. AI needs rules, not vibes. So every single improvement that we made was about applying a system, not making kind of like subjective aesthetic choices. And this brings me to my broader point. AI isn't bad at design. It's just bad at priorities. It doesn't know what matters. It treats every pixel with equal importance because it has no concept of user goals or business objectives unless you give it that context. And that's why frameworks are so powerful. They're not just style guides. They're how humans communicate intent to machines. If you learn to speak in systems, you can make AI your co-designer instead of your enemy. You become the art director and AI becomes the production designer who executes your vision at lightning speed. In my opinion, this is the future of building production-ready products. Structure first, creativity second. So let's zoom out for a second and tie all of this together. So what we just did, transforming that chaotic sign-up screen to this, it's not really about design. It's about communication. So we took AI's scattered output and imposed structure. We gave it a vocabulary to work with, Tailwind, shadcn components, spacing rules, and suddenly it could create something cohesive. This is exactly what happened when Bootstrap and material design were introduced more than 10 years ago. They didn't make designers more creative. They gave everyone a shared language so we could stop reinventing the wheel and start building on top of solid foundations. And in my opinion, AI is going through that same transition right now. And the people who understand this, who learn to prompt in systems, not just descriptions, they are going to have a massive advantage. But I just want to make one last point. Here's the thing. Creativity without structure is chaos, but also structure without creativity is boring. So you actually do need both. And the beautiful thing about AI is that it can handle the structure part instantly. You just have to provide the rules as context first. All right, so we have reached the end of the video. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to drop the exact prompts I used for the transformation in the description below, along with all the links to frameworks and component libraries that we talked about. So I want you to take an ugly AI-generated UI, doesn't matter if it's yours or something you found online, and fix it using these design principles. And when you're done, tag me, show me the before and after, because I'm super curious what you all come up with and how you all refine. Because listen, this is the skill that I believe is going to separate the people who just use AI from the people who actually build production-grade products. The window's closing. We all know that. Everyone's building with AI right now, but the ones that win will be the ones that actually look good. The ones that feel like a human-made intentional design decisions. Don't just ship fast, ship with structure. Now, if you stuck around till the end of the video, I appreciate you. I will see you on the next one.